Hi everybody, welcome back to Get Cracking podcast. And today again the video version, audio version, short video version, no social media, full of content. Welcome back. Make sure that you subscribed and like all our episodes. We are continuing improving and bringing better and better guests. And today we have another awesome guest, Juha. Hello.
Hello, Roman. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for making it here. Super happy to have this discussion with you about the future and about computers. But before we tune in, the tradition of our podcast is to let guests introduce themselves in 60 seconds. So please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I'm a co-founder of IQM, maybe well known that. By training, I'm a physicist. I studied quantum computing in Aalto University. Back then, it was Helsinki University of Technology. I made my PhD since 2005 on quantum computing. And after that, I have been working in the software industry in different companies. And 2018, we started fundraising for IQM. And then we managed to make the biggest seed round in Finnish history in that time for IQM, 11.5 million. And after that, I worked 4 years as a CEO of the company. I ramped up the operations and worked in different functions. So that's my history.
Amazing, wow. And also maybe to let everybody know, so me and you, we met already some time ago. It was in November and it was in the slush time. And then we already had similar discussion, fireside chat on the retro tram tour. This was a fun experience. So for everybody who's listening, like imagine that me and Juha and then 20 seed founders are riding around Helsinki in the retro tram and then just speaking about how to raise the investment or business, how to be a cool person. And now we are back here. Yeah. So would you tell us like the story from where the IQM quantum computers came live? So whose idea was that, and how did you start the company?
Well, we have to go 20 years back in the time when I was a student, a researcher in Helsinki University of Technology. I had a colleague, Mikko Möttönen, my fellow student there, and we were always thinking we make invention. Let's start a company. Let's make it big. But at that time, quantum computing wasn't yet there. The VC industry wasn't there. Let's say these startups were quite rare. And so we went on. Mikko went to the researcher path. I went my own one, more on industry. And then 2017, there were a couple of people who visited Mikko's lab, and they said that, there is a potential for startup. Someone has gotten a huge funding for our startups, made on technology not so good even as Mikko has developed with his team. So that was kind of spark. So then we were chatting with Mikko, and Mikko actually initiated. Let's found a company, and so I said, okay, I'm in, and so we started. We thought that it's very easy, but eventually it took a full year to do the fundraising. We were aiming like one of our friends who sparked this process. He said that. Someone got 50 million for a company like this, and so 50 million was our target. So that set the level for our fundraising. We're always talking about the 50 millions, and investors never said that it's too much, but it's of course a little bit laughing asking so much money, but we didn't know. We were first-time founders, so we went on, and eventually in 1 year we were able to close around 11.5. So we were a little bit disappointed. So things happen, and then we went back to see what's the average, what the others get, and then we found that it's actually the biggest one so far. So so that's about the money. So then we got that and started building. We have made, of course, a lot of planning before that, especially on the tech side. And then we made the decision that we will go big. And so we started to really investing on recruiting and marketing and a lot of things. Then the COVID came. There are a lot of chapters in the history of IQM. So a lot of turns up and down, and here and there.
This is such a great indicator. I mean, like, I cannot almost believe that this happened to you, that you're just like, okay, let's close 50 million round, and then you actually got disappointed on closing 11, but then actually it's ended up being the biggest, round, like in the industry, like on those times. Would you share maybe for everybody to understand maybe completely, and for me again to refresh my knowledge, what exactly is this quantum computer? For like, as I'm 5 years old.
Right. Yeah, so I've been asking ChatGPT how to explain in one sentence, and it says about the processor, it's an intelligent stone.
Intelligent stone, yeah.
Yeah, right. But on fundamental level, it's quantum mechanics invented already like 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's a different laws of nature, and in that time it was only observed in atoms, like, or in nucleus. So somewhere like only physicists play with. So not for every man, doesn't make much difference. But now, since then, the development has been very rapid, and nowadays even electrical circuits can make those quantum mechanical phenomena visible, and not only visible, we can control them on engineering accuracy. So this is so-called second quantum revolution. So first one was like lasers, semiconductors and stuff, but now we can control individually these quantum mechanical degrees of freedom, which don't really make sense in our everyday life. But it seems that you can put, like, if you think about elementary operations in a computer, they are done with bits which are 0 or 1, but in quantum computer, we can have 0 and 1 at the same time, for example, and we can take advantage of that. So at the moment, the applications, always people asking first, what are the applications? Yeah. And there are many, but so far, all of them are still like under development, so to say. But people expecting that you can like simulate molecules. So it's like an electrical circuit which behaves like an atom. So you can simulate molecule, and you can predict what is the chemistry of the molecule before you have the molecule in hand. Okay. So in that way, you could use that for the drug discovery, for material science, for many aspects there. Or then there are like recently many AI topics, so you can accelerate the AI. So AI consumes a lot of power, like produce a lot of CO2. So you could make a lot of improvement there with help of quantum computer. Or it can be also in long term, it could be some kind of security applications like related to cryptography. So the quantum computer will be really relevant there, like after 10, 20 years.
Yeah, so quantum computer is like a supercomputer that we don't even know yet what is exact implementation of this kind of technology, right? But then also it can bring the positive things. For example, encryption is positive, but then decryption is negative. What do you think? Is there potential that these quantum computers will be used to decrypt, I don't know, personalized messages or personal data? Or is there potential in this?
We don't know yet. Okay. Time will show. But let's say at the moment you should be aware of this, that eventually this might turn out. So there are also like different kind of encryption methods which are not so much used yet, but like there are quantum safe post-quantum cryptography technologies. And like if you want that your messages will be secret also after 20 years. So maybe not in personal life, they don't make such a big difference, but
in business application,
in the later on, like it might be that they are vulnerable to so-called harvest now, decrypt later attacks. So in that sense, you should look for those more safe cryptographic methods if you are working in that domain. Yeah.
Is there any chance that AI will be combined with the quantum computers, and then it turns out to be kind of harm machine of the future, and then arises? So, is there a Terminator movie coming live with that?
Yes, this is again a very interesting kind of line of thought, and
I'm just speculating.
yeah,
But many people think of that.
many people see like a danger or like a harmful applications of AI, and I should say that we are there with every deep tech, every powerful technology which is like can be used for good or bad. So in a sense, technology is neutral, but you can use even like a sharp knife for a knife or for the spur. So it depends on who will use it and what is the purpose.
Yeah.
So but this is like combining the AI and quantum is something like if it's like even like a general AI, AGA. So that might be when you run that on quantum computer. So that might be like an ultimate solution which can tell, or which might have some superhuman capabilities, and which can tell you answer to some philosophical question where the human mind is not sophisticated enough to answer. So
That's what I thought. So when you've been mentioning that the quantum computers will give the ability to project the behavior of molecules, but then also does it mean that it will give possibility for AI to be more like alive, because there's kind of more dimensions to that, or it's not the case?
yeah, that's actually active research subject, whether the quantum mechanical phenomena are needed even.
Okay.
It might turn out like even like things like consciousness or self-awareness or kind of certain kind of creativity is related to these quantum mechanical phenomena. Some researchers are seeing even some quantum coherent behavior in the brain.
Yeah.
So for a long time, AI researchers were trying to mimic what the brain is doing, and it was very difficult. Now there have been recently a lot of progress with large language models, but might turn out actually that there are like still like research developments in other direction, and a quantum computer might be part of that, where you can really take advantage of this quantumness, and so it's potentially much more powerful computer, and who knows what is the potential when you merge together two very powerful technologies.
You know, what I'm happy about is that, you know, when I read a mission statement from your company, for IQM Quantum Computers. So it says, we are building world-leading quantum computers for the well-being of humankind now and for the future.
Yeah.
So this makes me warm. So now you guys are doing, you know, kind of, you're building something good and kind and for the humankind. But then how does it project kind of to you? Could you paint us the picture of your maybe dream implementation of quantum computer? So what do you think kind of should be there after 30 years? So what the quantum computer should be doing for the greater future of humankind?
I think it will eventually be quite something that you don't then afterwards attribute so much as quantum. So most probably, like for every man, it will be something like things just work smoothly. Like electricity price is lower, the food price is lower, and that is a result of let's say a little bit improvements here and there in logistics, in better materials, better solar cells, better let's say computer simulations to design some parts here and there. So there may be mostly like this kind of incremental developments which make things better, easier, cheaper. I think. So then the question about this like really like disruptive technologies. It's very difficult to predict. So this researchers have known for 30 years about this application regarding to encryption or cryptography, and those ones are not so new. Might have big consequences, but on the other hand, those risks are very much mitigable. So you can you can find different kind of methods to overcome those ones.
Yeah.
But then the big ones like this connection to AI, it's very difficult. Like before the age of mobile phones, it was very difficult to see what the smartphone can eventually do. So we are we are seeing that something powerful coming.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like you have invented electricity, and then you have to imagine what you can do with it. So might turn out that it's completely something very different than now. But we can see like sensor applications. You can possibly do some very different sensing. You can do probably some very powerful computing. You might also be able to do something like a personalized medicine eventually, so that you exactly know what your body needs, and then you get the molecule designed only for you, and something like that. But it's of course very difficult to predict all that.
I love this like logic or the drive that kind of you're explaining. So it is a bit of a scientific entrepreneurial mix when you say that, like, so we figure something out, something is working, and then we are driving it forward, but we are not completely sure what will be the application of this technology. And then you're right, how it happened with the smartphones. Nobody expected smartphones to come live, and then everybody was happy with mobile phones, and then smartphones came and fully disrupted everything that was happening. And then if you tune back, then the same happens. I think, for example, with engines, maybe at a smaller scale, but then also it's kind of disruptive and a breakthrough in technology. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and I would also compare this to what happened to the NVIDIA. So
tell us more. So I've heard that IQM now is also partnered with the NVIDIA. So
yeah, we have a partnership.
Okay.
That's quite fresh still.
Okay.
But let's say that very often in Finland, people are asking a question like, "Is IQM a new Nokia?" And earlier I said that now it's different. Now I'm cracking a joke that it's more like NVIDIA.
Okay.
So it's, which many ways is better analogy, but also like NVIDIA, I think they started making their chips for computer gaming, for graphics. And then some researchers started to find out that you can actually use it for something else. You can do high performance computing with help of your graphic accelerator. Now the cards don't even come anymore with the graphics cable connector, but they are only used for computing. And actually then came the AI, and suddenly those GPUs, those NVIDIA cards, they are very useful for running the AI. No one predicted that beforehand. Maybe someone saw it, but didn't make noise out of it.
And also cryptocurrency.
Yeah, so the applications come later on once you have a powerful enough technology available, and then there is like a lot of developments, and it's very difficult to see it.
And also the world is big, so there is so many bright minds who can figure out like, okay, so we have these quantum computers who have like this and this. Okay, why don't we do X? So, do research on some anti-cancer super waves that will heal cancer, and then they try it out, and then maybe there's initial traction, and then they develop the solution for that. So yeah, I see what you mean there. Would you tell us more about your funding experience? I had conversations with founders and then VCs, and now there is a tendency that everybody believes that the VC money or just investor money are not being invested into hardware. So it is way harder to run the hardware company because everybody is searching for software. So what is your take on it? Should you or can you run a hardware company?
Well, we are an example that you can do it.
Yeah.
There are other hardware companies also in Europe, not so many, but there are some successful ones. And let's say that especially in Finland, there are like a very active venture capital scene, and they are also investing into hardware to some extent. Of course, not so much as software. Software doesn't need that much capital, so hardware very capital intensive, and more. What is more like when you're building a hardware company, you need like infrastructure, and many venture capital companies don't want to build factories or also like public money. They don't, at least in Finland, don't support like building factories. So it's reserved for big heavy industries.
What are the couple lessons you've learned from your journey, or you wish you would know when you've started, in terms of building the company, raising funds, when you are a hardware company?
You have to talk to many investors. You have to understand, like when you're a first-time founder and the whole scene is new, then you don't really. It takes time to understand what's going on, who will in what the ticket size means, and also one thing is that you are very much like money focused, and the investment always like it's how much money, but then the investors also come with networks and expertise. So that's also very important at least in hardware business. So let's say that we are fabricating chips. So we have a clean room facility where we have like a semiconductor production line, and those are quite rare, especially in Europe. And if you have
is it based in Finland?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you find an investor who is investing in semiconductor sphere, who then have those networks, who can connect you, who can say you what to do, who to ask. So those are also very valuable things, what I didn't realize in a very early on. So it's pretty much depends on like how good networks you get. So if you have like some very wealthy investor who only gives you money, of course you're lucky, but your way is very difficult if you don't have all those
100%.
networks.
You need the relationship, and you need certain doors to be opened. And then, as you said, in your case, it's something super niche and something super specific, and not many have those capabilities. So then you need access to factories or brains or people. So you need introductions, and you need to build those relationships and kind of cultivate them. Yeah. Are there any other examples of, like in your case, when investor relationship moved forward, something like on your journey?
So one of those is this public affairs. So like when you are a hardware company, and especially in this deep tech, so you also need support from public side and like the connections to political side, also to the authorities, like and also like a society in general. So these kind of governmental relationships stuff. So that is also something where the investors can open the doors and like create trust. So you just don't go and start talking to someone, or you can of course do that, but it doesn't necessarily lead to the results what you're hoping for. But you need someone to introduce there and follow the right kind of pathway there, and then that way, since you need also support from every direction when you are planning some big, let's say you're building a facility, so that you get things right there. So you need to understand how the society is built, how it works, what is the role of every people there who are playing a certain role. So that way, those kind of things very complicated for average founder who have never done it before. So those kind of things where the investors can jump in and do much more than just giving you money. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I heard you. And now, so what is happening now is IQM is expanding to US.
Yes.
So what is driving this? So why do you do this?
Well, when you take the world map and see where the actors are, like 30% of them globally are in US. So it's very competitive market. Many competitors there. Like it's very advanced. So in that sense, that's not very easy. But if you want to access to let's say the big customers, if you want to really do business globally, then that's the direction where you should go. So of course, like at the same time, we are looking all the other directions as well, but that's definitely where growth potential is.
And who is driving the expansion? Is it you are leading the expansion efforts, or?
my current role in my current role, I'm doing that now at IQM. So I'm leading the expansion. So I'm actually tomorrow I'm traveling to US and going to spend there.
I think for everybody who is listening, you are already in US for quite some time, and I think there are already some computers probably built even. But yeah, so how long you're staying there, and what's your plan? Do you have a roadmap in mind? And what are you doing? Maybe without opening any kind of secrets of what exactly, but what do you do, and what you would advise people to do if maybe they're also expanding their companies.
Right. So we have started this expansion already like a while ago, maybe a year ago, and like what we have been doing, we have been talking to other companies. It's always a good idea to talk. So like we have been interviewing the other, let's say, deep tech companies, also software companies who have successfully entered North American market, and what they learned there, which things works, what things don't work, and so those ones, and then understanding the legislation in US, it's a different thing. Actually,
it's really different.
Yeah, so it's like even if you play according to the rules, then they might sue you, or like it's not rare, and like also the like what comes to the employment laws and those, they're very different, and also the practices and like understanding how to enter the market, how to establish entity there, how to set up a shop there, as they say. So it's not too easy. Actually, I found out that not that many companies from Finland have done it. After all, I would have imagined that there would be more Finnish companies, but there are a few who are doing well, but it's not too easy.
On top of your mind, do you have some kind of good examples of somebody? Is there someone who've done it great, who've done the expansion to US?
Like we are comparing us to some like deep tech companies like Vario or ISI from Finland. Also, Blueforce is something like which is very close. Like big part of our quantum computer parts come from there, so they are then doing it very well. So. There are also some other companies who are, but not very many. But that's the
maybe not yet. Let's see how it goes. I think now the overall entrepreneurship is going up, so there is more and more companies being created, and I also hope that there is not only more companies, but more better companies that do real business, who bring real value, who reach certain levels. And then we maybe see there just more companies to expand to US.
Yeah.
Great. So you're on a journey to expand to US. Maybe something from another topics. What would you recommend to people who wish to start their business, or who want to be an entrepreneur, who want to find their IQM, but then they don't know what to do? So where do you start?
Well, classically, you need to have a good idea, and then you need to have a good team. So
how do I know it's a good idea? There is so many ideas, and for me, I'm just canceling all of them because they're not that good.
Well, you need to have like a crazy enough idea. So it needs to be something new in that sense, and there needs to be something real behind it. And then I think then you will learn when you're pitching that to investors. They will ask you questions. They will tell if it flies or not. So then you need to listen. So you don't stick to your original idea. It's maybe not so good. Maybe you change it completely.
So you need to tell to people, you need to tell to investors, and then you need to listen what they got to tell you. So then they're like somehow experts, right? So
I like stories. So I should put it that way, that you should have an idea, and you should make a story. You believe yourself. If you don't believe yourself, your story, then it's maybe not so good story. So, but if you truly believe that how your company will work, how will it make money, how it grows, if you have a good idea enough that you can make a story that you can convince yourself that this works, then you can try your best friends or your future colleagues.
Yeah.
You try to convince them. You build a team. So if you tell your story and then if it somehow triggers them, if they, wow, this is, I want to be part of this story. So, and then of course they will tell like, how about this thing? This is a weak point, or it doesn't go like that. Then you listen to them, you elaborate your story, you improve it. Maybe you eventually you change your story quite much, but you have tried it with your buddies. You start from your best friend, then you go a little bit more hostile. Someone you know who would be very good for your team. You try. You have a confidence to tell your story. You get his buy-in or her buy-in, and then eventually you have your starting team. And then you have an idea. Then you dare to approach your first investors. Then they probably very kind for you. And
but what do you think about investing your own money and money of friends? So
I think you have to do it.
You have to do it. Okay.
So that's the first thing, like friends and family and fools around. So of course you own first all the shares, and then of course you can be lucky and get like an investor before, like you can from the day one get some salary, but that's I think the rare, very rare. But you have to at least you have to invest your time so that you have maybe if it's software you have developed the software a little bit already that you can show that. Basically, this is the way how it goes.
They believe into the story you've mentioned. So this is the same. So if you believe, you should be ready to spend time and money on it, right?
Yeah.
So and then get it somewhere. So investments from VC or angels doesn't need to be the number one thing that people are doing. So it might be that you just work yourself, you invest your own money, friends' money, you try to sell more, and then eventually maybe at some point you'll get to the investment round, but not necessary. That is, I mean, if you speak about the quantum computers, I think it's necessary.
I had my day job, and we were doing quite much developing this business idea before I quitted my day job, and so very busy on the weekends and the evenings, and what should I say? My advice is that if you believe on your idea, so that's also one test that if you believe on your idea so much that you are ready to invest on it yourself, then it shows that you are very serious about it. And might be also you can put it that way that if you find very early on someone to invest your company without you investing any money on it, maybe the angel or someone, maybe they don't offer you so good terms. But let's say that you have already developed your idea, a little bit like proof of concept. Maybe you have some very early customer. Maybe you have gotten a little bit revenues already. Then you can go to speaking to investor. Look, this is the business model. I have proven it, validated already. It works at least initially.
Absolutely.
Then you get the good terms. But then you don't need to give so many shares.
The terms are better, and then your negotiation position is way better because you can have done something and then you've proven it works, and now you're kind of inviting them over. You're like, okay, you can join and we go together. You're not completely dependent from their cash injection. That's the way to put it. I love it. And then you've mentioned the number 2 was there about the team. So how about your team? And then you're quite many co-founders in the IQM, right?
Yeah, we have 4 co-founders. Okay. We have a founding team of, let's say, 20 people. So let's say that before we got our, let's say, seed round, so we many of our, let's say, founding team members, they actually invested some of them invested some of their own money on the company on that time. So, and we had the friends and family round. So we have some.
What was the size of friends and family?
200,000.
200,000. Okay.
So that's you can already start paying the first salaries, and you can rent the office. You can you can set up a shop. So you have basically a company with that amount of money, and then when you're hosting an investor, you can invite them to your own premises.
What was important for you within this team? Because also back then you've been CEO, right?
Yeah.
And then so what was important for you within this team? like, or early stage?
In early stage, let's say that you don't have anything. You don't have any management structures. You don't have any, or like much of the support is missing. So you have to trust on those people. So that they can work very individually. So they can work like you don't really have like a team meetings, or you don't have like many of these, let's say, governance structures which are supporting later on your decision making and division of the work and so on. So you need, instead of that, you need trust. So you have a good guy. You trust on him. If he's, let's say, the sales guy, he will do the sales.
Yeah.
And you don't need to ask yourself, like, you don't every day, or maybe you actually combine your small team, but like, you trust that everybody will do their own part of the job, and they will do it well enough. So no one needs to control each other.
Yeah.
Or at least if you're in that lucky position, then it's much easier for you. So it's.
I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Also, just maybe so we know each other from Slush, and also I was kind of part of the Slush organizers team on the last time, and then one of the Slush values is so-called trust by default.
Yeah.
So that's what they're striving for, like an org structure. So they want people to be independent and to perform and kind of do things. So it is better for a global thing. And I see nowadays more and more companies they're building it from trust. Because people, like, this is also the way I see it, that I want to be independent, and I want, people in my team be independent, and I trust in them. And they trust in me that I'll, also take care of them, when it's needed. Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a very important theme also when you grow larger. So actually, we have a trust as one of the company values in IQM, and we have build the team. So if you have a trust in a company, then you can build like a very flat organization, and the teams, individuals, they can be quite autonomous, and it can be from more like a decision making could be happen more there in the bottom. So it's like bottom up style, whereas classically it has been hierarchical and top down, and we actually, when we are now growing globally, we have seen that actually in Finland, the Finnish company culture, at least the startup culture, is actually it's built on trust. In Finland, people trust each other. In Finland, people like it's more like a trust as default. Whereas in many other countries, it doesn't work like that. So, for example, Germany much more hierarchical, and like in France, it's like there's a boss and boss decides. And it's like when you go to many other countries, and you also might fail if you come with your trust as default, go to another country where the things go more the top, the bottom side. So it's also important that you are aware of that. So like, what is your assumption? And you communicate like also in a company. So you build a single culture. You tell people, okay, this is how we work here. And please do your share, and don't expect that I will come and control. If I don't ask each time, you should still do your job. So those kind of things are very important. And from the early on, you should decide how is your company culture, which kind of behavior you allow there, what you don't allow.
Would you agree that the company culture is the extension of founders' culture?
This is especially in the beginning, it is very much. So the founder is a role model for everybody else. They are looking how the founder behaves, the others behave similarly. If founder is doing something, then it's kind of allowed behavior usually. And founder, if he's not doing something or if he's behaving well, so that's what the others, it's like a role model thing. Of course, when the company grows, then there are also other aspects, other angles, but I think it's pretty much if the founder is the CEO especially, then it's like a very strongly sets the tone for the whole company, how things are done, what is expected. So
was it? How do you feel like nowadays? IQM grew for quite a bit. Do you still feel like that the culture aligns with your culture and other founders' culture? So is there still old? Is new IQM same as an old IQM? In terms of culture?
No, it's not the same. So there has been a lot of development stages, and let's say we have been also experimenting with, let's say, different kind of management styles on the way, and when the company grows, also like there are like other kind of let's say cultural components what come to play. So something happens like when the company grows over like 20 or 30 people, people don't anymore trust, or they don't know each other. It's not anymore a family after that.
Yeah.
And something happens around the 100, people start to gossiping, there starts to be like a different behavior. Again, something maybe in 300, there is again something new dynamics coming into play. So I would be lying if I would say that it's the same culture as it was, but I hope that there are still some traces of the original culture left which are supporting it. So definitely this is different company from some another company, what I have seen. So it's a unique, its own way, but the culture evolves over the time. Yeah,
I see it. Yeah, amazing. Maybe before we wrap up, is IQM hiring people? Are you growing?
Let's say that this year we are not projecting that much growth. So there are still some position open at the moment, but let's say that we foresee that maybe the next year that the growth will be
so next
stronger.
year. Yeah, the reason why I'm asking is that I see you, I know a bit about IQM. I see that you guys are like really looking into the future. So then if anyone is listening is interested, check in the LinkedIn and maybe, you know, find the new home, new kind of culture. And before we wrap up, do you have any final tips to anyone who is listening or something you'd like to share?
Yeah, so maybe there are some new entrepreneurs, some fresh people, fresh founders. So I just want to give confidence that it's a bumpy road, but it's worth of doing it. So it's a lot of fun if you enjoy it and like take fun out of every bump and learn it and next time you will do it better. So it has been like really a journey to see the IQM growing for 5 years, like as it has been. So like a lot of fun. I wouldn't have done it differently, or I would have maybe done it differently, but let's say that if I could go now 5 years back, I would definitely choose the same way.
It is an amazing story, and I'm super happy to see that you are still super excited when you've been telling us behind the cameras about the computers and showing the space. It was amazing. So thank you so much for inviting us here. Juha Vartiainen in LinkedIn, IQM computers. Also follow anywhere else you're active, or people should check in on you.
Nowadays, the LinkedIn is the most active one, so yeah.
Okay, everybody in LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening. Give please a like and a review to this episode, and stay tuned for the next ones. Thank you.
Thank you.